Hey everyone, this is the Untitled.jpg podcast where we talk about art, movies, and anything that comes to mind. For this episode, we're going to have Hunter Schuon. He is a tattoo artist working at a Fountainhead in Huntington, New York. I met him actually at FIT as well. He only did the associates while I did the full 4 years. But he started tattooing straight out of college, killing it ever since. And so we get into kind of what he's been doing since then and where he's been working at now. Um, he's been tattooing now for years, and I needed to ask him like how he started out straight out of college. We get into his time in college and what he's been going through in the pandemic, what he's been doing. If you're interested in getting into tattooing, this is definitely the episode to listen in on and get like the whole scope of how to start out, how to get that apprenticeship, and also look into the Craig Franco episode as well as the Mike Evangelista episode, which have really great insights as well. You can find Hunter on Instagram at hunter.schuon.tattoo. You spell his last name as Schuon, and there you could book him for tattooing and check out his amazing work. He's working on the website. He'll talk more about that during the episode. Also, I just wanted to mention that merch is definitely on its way. I actually have some samples over there, but I'm not going to show them yet. I'm still working them out. Definitely keep a lookout for that as I'll be releasing them on my website, albertcoladoart.com. I'll let you guys know through Instagram and I'll figure some other stuff out. All right, guys, enjoy the show. All right, dude. So we have my boy Hunter here. We met at FIT. How you been, man?
I'm good, man. How are you? Everything's good.
Dude, so good. Like I was telling you before, this is just a great excuse to rekindle with old friends and everything and figure out what everybody's doing.
Definitely, bro. Definitely.
So I kind of wanted to get into, because you're a tattoo artist now and you started out super early. And like we met in college, and I'm here thinking you're going to go the whole full 4 years. And at the 2 year mark, you're
Hold
done, you're
out.
ready to go. So
Yep.
let's talk about that. Like, how did you get into art? How'd you decide on like stopping at like the 2 year and pursuing what you want to do?
Okay. Okay. How do I get into art? I feel like I was always drawing.
Yeah.
It took me a bit to, I guess, make the leap as far as pursuing it or like going to school for it. Kind of fell into that, applied to FIT, not really thinking that I would go. And then I got early acceptance and I was like, all right, I have to go. So I went and yeah, I was having a great time. It gave me like the fundamentals that I thought I needed. And really just got me to the point where I was drawing every day, where it's just
Yeah.
like, okay, now I feel way more comfortable. I know something about something that I thought maybe I knew about, but I really had no idea about anything prior to going to school. And then, yeah, I don't know. The goal was always, or the intention was always to tattoo, and they don't teach that. So it's like, okay,
Exactly. So
I
then,
got to go find someone to teach me.
so you're coming from Long Island just like me. So
Yep.
did you have, because I know in my school, the art curriculum wasn't that great. So was it anything like that with you as well? Or did you have a better one?
It was
Like,
pretty good actually at the school that I
yeah.
was at. Yeah, yeah, for sure. But that said, it's like I didn't really take it too seriously when I was in high school. I mean,
Right.
like I was always there, but it was more like I would enjoy it. I would show up and have a good time, but it was also I wasn't taking it as seriously as I guess a lot of other people would be.
Dude, I was the same way when it came like to senior year. I had like major senioritis. I
Right,
mean, FIT was literally the only school I actually finished the application for, and
right.
thankfully I got
It
accepted
worked
in,
out.
Yeah, it worked out.
Exactly.
But yeah, so then you go to college, we meet up there, and then you already know what you want to do. You want to do tattooing. So then usually you go to college and you want to like go like and finish up, but you decided on like stopping at the 2 year mark. What made you like take that leap and just be like, you know what, I don't need this anymore. I got everything.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's not like I thought I didn't need it. It was just I found myself doing a lot of work that didn't push me in the direction that I needed to go in.
I could agree with that. Yeah.
Right. So for me to be doing all these other little things that takes me in a direction so far away from the actual focus, I just thought, okay, I have my associates. again, like I have like a good foundation, and now I just need to push myself and find someone to, like, I guess, get my foot in the door as far as the tattoo world goes. Cause like I was starting to get tattooed at that point. I didn't get my first tattoo or like real tattoo until I was like 19 or 20. And then at that point I knew like that's really what I want to do. And yeah, from there it was more
Yeah.
like how do I get somebody to like get me into this world, you know?
Yeah, so can kind of walk us through that. Like, how'd you manage to get into a shop? Like, what was the steps in getting into that?
Okay, so I like just dropped out, or I guess I got the associate's degree, decided that I wasn't going to go next semester. Was kind of stressed out about that, I guess, but it was just okay. I need to push harder,
Yeah.
and figure out how to do this. I was bartending at the time, and then this guy, Mikhail Anderson, he was working at Bang Bang for a while, and then he opened up his own studio. And I went there the first day that they were open, and it was just him. And he took a look at my work. Like I brought a portfolio, a bunch of my drawings, paintings, whatever, anything that I thought was of like a good quality. Um, I had it in this. I had digital copies too. Just showed him my Instagram, other things in like accompaniment with the portfolio that I had. He saw that I like had some tattoos ready that were well done, and he was like, okay, like you're serious about this. But at the same time, he already had an apprentice, and he kind of like politely told me to fuck off. And I was just like, it's
Damn.
just kind of how it is, you know? It's
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
yeah, okay, like this is cool, like you're not bad, but I'm already busy. Like I can't teach a million people, and I already have somebody. For whatever reason, I like took that as like me having gotten the job, kind of. I don't know, I was just a little bit, I guess, ignorant, but also just dead set on working here. So I was just
Yeah.
like, okay, I need to just like show back up, and like it's gonna work out. So I went to my job bartending and like waiting. I put my 2 weeks in. I don't know why, because I would obviously still need to work even if I got an apprenticeship. But I
Yeah.
showed back up at the shop 2 weeks later and had some new drawings. And he was just like, "What's up? What are you doing here?" And at that point, I kind of just convinced him to like let me clean the shop. So I just like started cleaning the shop. Then I went in the back, and like I just kept showing up. It's just more or less like I was never hired. I was just working for free,
Dude,
and
yeah,
it
that was like
just
that's super old school. Like,
right. I mean, it kind of
yeah.
just worked out like that. And he just didn't say anything to me in the way where it's just like, why are you here? He's just like, okay, it's a new business. He already has an apprentice. She doesn't have to clean because now I'm cleaning. And it
Yeah.
just worked out that way. And then like eventually it switched over to more about how I could do artistically. Like, okay, are you actually into, like, how serious are you about tattooing? And then I would have like certain assignments, but at the same time, most of it was just up to me. Like it was just, I was shown a lot, but also you just have to pick things up on your own, just like through watching and being around, you know?
So you kind of basically teaching yourself, but he was just there, like, just kind of,
In
yeah.
some ways, I mean, in I don't want to say like he didn't show me anything, and I was definitely given
No,
like
right.
some
Yeah.
guidance and direction. Like I was told, okay, now let's study faces. Like you're gonna draw these faces. Here's like 3 hours, like draw a portrait, or like I don't know, but I would also make like these challenges for myself too. Like, okay, I'm gonna draw 100 roses, or I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna paint a skateboard deck with this face and go to this tattoo convention with you guys, or do anything as far as like painting, flash, drawing, just to improve my
So
tattoo or my drawing skills, which would then hopefully translate to tattooing.
so you were it was pretty much that. It like just showing up and then making sure that he knew that you were serious about everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't like the natural progression of things. I guess I got like kind of
Yeah,
had to
yeah.
prove my worth too. Like before I went to FIT, I was working carpentry with like my father for a while. So I had skills, and like it's a new shop. So, okay, I'm hanging paintings, I'm hanging mirrors, I'm like fixing things, I'm doing like handiwork kind of, that I just knew already from like my old job. And yeah, then I just like started managing the books and everything like that. Started booking clients for tattoo artists and like appointments for people, getting the scheduling down, learning how to break down setup. And yeah, just eventually got to the point where I was tattooing then. It's Like it kind of just happened out of nowhere. Like I worked
Yeah.
for free for like, I don't know, man. It was like 5 or 6 months, dude. It was like a lot.
Dude, so yeah, so then what'd you do with money? Because you quit your job.
Right. So I was going back. I was working like 7 days a week. So I would work at the shop for 4 days a week, and then I would take the train back to Long Island, even though I was living in Brooklyn, and I would work carpentry and like construction on Long Island, and then I would just take the train back and then just like keep it going.
Dude, that sounds fucking rough, man.
It was a
But
grind. Yeah,
listen, yeah, I mean, and now you got what you deserved and you're at where you want to be. So then
working hard.
you're not there at Bang Bang now. You're here in
I was I
Huntington.
was I was never at Bang Bang. No, no. So
Oh, okay.
the guy I learned from, he was working at Bang Bang, opened up his own studio, First Class Tattoos. That's on Canal Street. Dope shop. Everybody there is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, learned a ton there, and then I think I tattooed there for like a year and a half, and then for whatever reason, more or less, it was just my time to get a new experience. I moved to a different shop, or like had an opportunity at a different shop. I worked at the shop Three Kings in Brooklyn for another year, and then after that year, I had another opportunity here at the shop that I'm working at now.
So, all right. So now you're at where you're at now in Huntington, right?
Right,
Where you're
Fountainhead
now.
now. Yep.
Um, so I wanted to ask then, because you obviously went to college and you were like, yeah, you got what you needed from it. Do you think you would you ever recommend that for anybody else? Like
What?
like college in that sense, where do you recommend it for someone that already has these kind of foundations, or like how did you feel about college in general for art? Do you think it's
Um,
necessary or
for me, it was. I don't think I would be where I am right now if I didn't go to school for it.
right?
It gave me structure. So it's like without going to school, I wouldn't already be putting in all the hours for drawing. Like, yeah, I like to draw, but it was more relaxed. And then going to school for it, it's like, okay, you need to show up with these assignments. You have all this other stuff to do. And it just made me more hungry, honestly, especially because of the fact like I'm not really getting fully like the full satisfaction that I want from doing all these class assignments. So I need to like work harder on my time off and like draw for myself. And that is more like where I found it to be helpful, where it's like, okay,
Yeah.
yes, I'm learning from school also, but it's like now I can take the skills I learned from school and like apply it to my own stuff.
Dude, yeah, I think that I completely agree on that. Where it's just like it definitely hones up like the hustle in you to do something, because you see everybody around you. You're surrounded by other artists that are killing it out there, and then you're just like you don't want to be the guy that just draws for the assignment and does nothing when you get home or anything and work on your own stuff. You
Totally.
know.
Nobody wants to be the worst at anything, especially when it's
Exactly.
like
So it's
it's
just
lined up next to other people, you know?
yeah, so like you're constantly in not I don't know about competition, but you're just constantly surrounded by these people and you want to just be better, learn from them and just hone your skills. And I think that's also what added to what I'm doing now, which is just like constantly doing something. Like I could either be obviously doing like freelance work. I got into video editing because I'm interested in that. I started podcasting this year because I just want to fill up time. So I think
Totally.
it just became more of like very deadline driven and just going like full throttle until I figure out what I want and just hone those skills when it comes to art, man. And
Without
I
a
think,
doubt.
yeah, I definitely got that from college in that sense. And so I wanted to ask you too, are you familiar with like imposter syndrome?
Um, yeah, I guess so. I would say more or less. I mean, do you want to explain it? I would say
Well,
that's like,
yeah, no, it's in a simple sense, it was just like basically feeling like what you have all this success, but then you feel like, oh no, I'm not really like this kind of thing. Like you feel like you don't deserve it or anything, or you just feel like a fraud, you know?
yeah, I mean, I don't know if I agree with that in a lot of ways, but I feel like that's just anything, honestly. Anything
Yeah,
that you care about, you're gonna hold at like a higher level, you know?
exactly. Yeah,
And for you to have goals, like if I looked at where I am now, when I got into FIT, I would be thrilled. But like now that I'm where I'm at currently, I have goals that seem so far away, but I'm probably not going to be happy with them once I achieve those goals, you know?
Yeah, dude, I'm the same way, man.
It's a
So you're very
sliding
goal
scale. So
driven.
it's
So
like
yeah. So do you like
it's
kind of write everything down in that
um
sense? Are you that kind of
I try
person?
to. I feel like I've been trying to make more lists. I think it helps me a lot, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of the times it's yeah, I mean I'll write a lot of things down, but most of the time it's like a lot of things that I'm doing will be like spur of the moment also, where it's like, okay, I'm
Right.
structured as far as like my tattoo schedule goes, but when I have downtime, it's either working out or just trying to fit in time with friends, family, whoever.
Yeah, definitely. I
A
mean,
little bit less
when I'm
structured
talking
then.
about like goals, I'm not saying like you got to follow this rigorous schedule like from 9 a.m. to like 10 at night. It's just more like having five things and you complete those five things, then you conquered the day basically. I learned that from Mike, what that I had a podcast with like a few months ago, and
Yeah,
I've just kind of been implementing that into my daily like life. And
totally.
yeah, it just keeps you really focused on what you need to get done, and then, like you said, like you look back at you've done, and then you're just like, oh, okay, so yeah, I definitely did that. I'm definitely at a better place than I was.
Right.
I definitely always recommend to like any artist or anybody to just really like start writing these things down, like writing down your goals and your future, like your 5 year plan. I mean, it doesn't have to be super rigorous, like I said, but just to give you a kind of a guideline to like get where you need to be, because you don't want to just kind of go day by day, not thinking that you have so much to do and not kind of doing it because you feel so overwhelmed. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I mean, time management is one thing, but it's also like to be an artist is such like a broad spectrum. So it's like you need to like flip the funnel to be really channeled and like streamlined
Yeah, man.
in a lot of ways where it's great to want to do 20 things, but it's not possible to do 20 things in one day. It's like
Exactly. And that's why if you do at least the five, then you know that the day was successful, and then it's just good like motivational wise as well. So you
totally,
don't so you don't
totally,
feel like you didn't do anything, you know?
definitely, definitely.
So then while you're tattooing, obviously you're creating stuff and everything. So when do you kind of feel the most creative? When you're doing that or kind of on your own doing your own stuff?
Um, I feel like it's all about balance for me, honestly. And that's something that I've always struggled with, whether it's like I'm spending too much time um, fixated on one thing, whether it's tattooing, whether it's again hanging out with friends or family or exercise. It's hard for me to find the balance, and it's like the same thing with being creative, where it's just like okay, sometimes I find myself in the groove, tattooing all the time. So like that's great, and I feel like the best when I'm just like constantly busy or like really focused on the next 4 hours for this tattoo. Um, but where do I feel the most creative? Yeah, probably tattooing at the moment,
Yeah.
or like making compositions or designs for tattoos. Yeah, I think that there's definitely like a level of freedom, but also like a level of restriction too, because it's not like everybody wants to get exactly what you want to do, you know?
Right. You got
So
to like
like,
kind of listen to them.
yeah, for sure. So it's like, which is great because that's inspiration like a different way. It's like basically any illustration assignment where it's like, okay, you're working as a contractor for somebody else. They're going to tell you what
Yeah,
they
you're
want.
freelancing but on someone's
Right.
body.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's like, okay, I'm going to do my interpretation of this. I hope you're like thrilled on the illustration and then we'll make the tattoo, which you're definitely going to be stoked on then. But yeah, I think for me right now, I would love to make more time to paint and draw. Like I don't want to say for myself, but just to paint and draw more. Because I think it all is it's all connected. Like you're only going to improve and see a better version of yourself if you're more well-rounded, I think.
Yeah, for sure, man. So, I mean, you're constantly like drawing literally every day. That's your job. I want to know like do you ever feel like burnt out? Like you have to do a drawing, you have to do the tattoo because someone's there right there. Do you ever get that burnout feeling where it's just like
Totally.
nothing's
All,
coming out?
all the time, dude.
Dude, it sucks. So then, like, how do you combat that when you're on the job and you have to create something?
You just have to do it.
Oh man.
That's just
Yes.
it, dude. I
Yes.
mean, that's how it goes. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
pretty booked right now, which is great. Like, I mean, it's like I'm super fortunate to be busy and have a lot of people to tattoo that want to get tattooed by me. But yeah, I don't know. It's like you sit down, do a tattoo for 4 hours, have food, and then I don't know, maybe you'll have like a break or two in between that. You'll like each go to the bathroom, walk around, stretch out. Or if either of us need a break, you could take as many as you want. You know, it's not like I'm sitting down here
Yeah,
torturing.
yeah. Craig was telling me like that's what's cool about the job. It's just, you can take your time with it. It doesn't have to like be super rushed and super
Yeah,
chill in that
without a
sense.
doubt. But also it's one of those things where it takes all of your attention. It's like
Yeah.
you're not going to get the finished product if you're not focused in doing it, you know? So it's like the more you focus and the more you do it, the faster or more efficient you're going to be, which is good for both people involved. You know, I'm not trying to make a 4 hour tattoo take 6 hours if I can make it take 4 hours, you know?
Right, right. Yeah. It's a high stress situation and I don't think I always thought about like going into it, but then I don't know. It's high tension, but it's the finish is always very rewarding, which I always see.
Definitely.
Um so then where do you kind of draw your inspiration from when you need to like draw something on the spot?
Um, a lot of times people will like bring in reference or
Okay,
they'll
that
show me
works.
like
Yeah.
tattoos that I've done in the past, or they're just going to say, okay, listen, this is like the jump off point. Here's my concept. I want you to take it and run whichever way you want to do. I think inspiration for those things, it comes from all over the place. It's like tattoos that I've done, tattoos that I've seen other people do. I mean, the guys that I work with are all amazing. So it's like I get inspired by them daily. So I think that's also what we're talking about with school or like
Yeah,
college and
yeah.
everything like that is I think finding yourself in an environment where you're challenged and surrounded by people which push you in a good direction or light, you're gonna find yourself in like moving towards the best version of yourself, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Cuz I saw I'm trying like I was in your just scrolling through your Instagram before the podcast and then
Mhm.
it's just like looking through like the way you create like the flowers with like this one on Carissa's arm
Okay.
with the flowers like kind of engulfing the knife
Yeah, yeah.
the blade or whatever. Dude, that's insane. Like
Thanks.
that's so much detail. So like
Yeah, that's crazy.
do you enjoy a lot of detail? You don't skimp on that. Like you don't go for like an easy
Yeah.
tattoo or execution, you
I
know?
mean, I definitely like detail for sure. I feel like
Yeah.
I've always been like detail oriented or like fixated on that. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that just like kind of comes out with like who I am as a person or like my style. I feel like it's always kind of been a thing for me. Like I started drawing with like pencil drawings more or less, and like you could get super detailed with pencil drawings. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Dude, it's crazy. I've like loved all your work and even with college you had that like tattoo-esque feel to it and I knew
I
that
was
you were
definitely
just
going for it. So
yeah.
yeah.
All right, so then we already talked about like so you didn't really go through that whole apprenticeship kind of like from point A to point B into a tattooing. So that's why I was gonna ask you now, but
What do you mean?
like you said, like you kind of just walked in and like kind of pushed your way in and just worked around the shop, but he wasn't taking an apprentice, right?
Right, like he already had an apprentice, but then it's
Yeah,
like, okay, so I proved that I could draw at that point, and he was like, "All right, this is like worth my time now. You're doing things around the shop. Eventually, you're gonna tattoo." I mean, it was kind of just said, and then okay, one day I tattooed like a leather glove, and then the next day I tattooed like a banana, and then the day after that I tattooed my leg, and it's like, what the fuck? That was
yeah,
three days, all within like a week of each other, and I ended up with a tattoo on my leg. Like that's crazy. Like from a glove, from not tattooing ever to tattooing inanimate objects to tattooing myself. I don't know, I just kind of like jumped into it. But at the same time, I was expecting it. Like
Yeah,
in my head, I wasn't ready to get tattooed the day that I showed up to work. But if I'm not going to do it then, and if I don't trust myself to do it, why should somebody else trust me to do it? You know?
exactly. So in
So
between all of that, you had to get certified, or were you doing that kind of before you had to like get the whole New York State like certification? Because I know like Craig and Mike did it all together one
yeah,
day.
I mean, I got certified. I mean, to get the certification, you just go and take a test. Really, it's more like it's like any other license, kind of. It's like, okay, you pay
Okay.
this much money to the state, you go take the exam, and then you have the license. Basically, anyone can do it. You know?
Oh, okay. So good to know.
Yeah.
Um. So then I kind of want to know what's like the future for you in then tattooing. Is the dream to just keep doing that, or kind of like end up owning your own shop? Like, what's the kind of goal for future wise?
I think it's again one of those things that always changes.
Hmm.
It's like the closer you get to one goal, the farther you realize you really are from the end goal of what you thought you really wanted. Um, but yeah, I don't know. For me, I think tattooing is giving me so much. It's giving me like everything, and like I've traveled a decent amount from tattooing already too, which has been sick. And I hope to continue to do that. I would love to travel more with tattooing. I think that's in the future, as far as like once coronavirus is over, and or a
Right.
little bit
Yeah.
less forefront or mainstream. I would love to travel more, meet more people, tattoo. Um, yeah, maybe specialize in like a specific genre of tattooing. I'm trying to figure that out right now, more or less, as far as like what I want to like hone in on.
So
But
you're kind of doing like a little bit of everything right now, but I mean, you kind of have a style already, which I dig.
definitely, I feel like, I
Yeah.
mean, I do me. It's like I do
Yeah.
my
Exactly.
style, you know. So it's like, okay, yeah, whatever comes in, I'm gonna do it my way. But yeah, so it is already my own. But I think maybe like subject matter, like specialize more in subject matter, or yeah, like Japanese or more ornamental or geometric, something along those lines. I'm just trying to weed it out, I guess, right now.
So when you're talking about traveling with tattooing, so do you get invited to like other shops? Like, how does this work out when you're talking about traveling?
I've done a couple guest spots. I feel like that's usually like through like acquaintances that I know, like other tattooers, tell me like either they could have me work there, or via like conventions, which aren't really a thing right now, again with COVID and
Yeah,
everything.
that's kind of
So
changed everything.
yeah, without a doubt. I mean, a lot. I think most people feel like a difference or like a change in like their day to day life. I
Yeah.
mean,
So then, how
I
did
wore
that
a mask
affect?
all day, every single day. So
Yeah. So that how does that affect? Well, how did that affect you guys when you like had to come back after like tattooing? Like, what did you have to do to
I
make
mean,
money? Yeah.
the shop that I'm at right now. I mean, we were closed for like 4 months.
Oh man. So how
Right.
was yeah? So how was that?
I
Like
mean, it was, I guess, enjoyable for like a week or two, and then I was
right. That's
like,
how we all kind of felt. We were just
right.
like, yo, a
I was
little
like, oh
vacation.
man,
What do you?
this is
Yeah.
cool. Like a little break. Like I've never had like, I don't know. I don't want to say I've never had like a month off, but I don't know. 4 months off is more vacation than I definitely want to ever have
Yeah,
again.
also with you, man, like you work like 7 days a week. So you're just kind of
I
used
mean,
to like
not right now. I'm working like five, but like or six. But yeah, I mean,
but just like having that grind of just constantly working to then like a complete stop, like it's
yeah. I
kind
mean,
of
again,
jarring.
it was nice in some ways because I got to paint more, so that was cool. But
Right.
also, it's a major stressor. I think everybody felt when it's like, okay, I'm not getting paid really. Like, what the hell am I gonna do?
Yeah, that financial stuff really
Right,
like took a
exactly. It's
toll.
like I don't think anyone ever expects to just go from making money to making no money at all with like no real options in between, you know?
Especially with you guys, because then you're literally dealing with people head on. Like it's like there's
Right.
no such thing as social distancing, you know?
Face to face, exactly. It's a
Yeah.
super intimate experience.
So how was that like when you actually start when you the first day back from work, feeling like with the whole coronavirus everywhere, and you're just like, all right, I'm going back to work and I'm gonna be dealing with these people.
Um, I guess a little bit nerve wracking.
Yeah.
It's like nobody really knows what it is. I mean, I still I don't know. I don't think I've gotten it yet. I've gotten tested plenty of times. I've never gotten the antibody test. Do you have the vaccination?
Not yet, but I did get like a whole. It was like a whole thing happened. Like the Christmas Eve, my whole family got it.
Really?
But so we had to get tested on Christmas Eve at like 5 in the morning because it was already like a huge line. Um, happened was a few days before my aunt felt kind of sick, so she went and my dad brought her. So she tested positive, but my dad didn't, weirdly enough. But
Right.
then
It's crazy.
yeah, and then a few days later, then he tested positive. So then we had to shut down the whole like holiday thing that we were all gonna do. Like,
Right.
and because Christmas is so close to New Year's, then New Year's was gone, and slowly everybody in the house was getting it. So then it just prolonged the whole quarantine, you know. So, oh, what should have been just like 2 weeks or like 10 days of
Yeah.
just
It's like a month.
quarantining ended up being a month because everybody kept getting like the week after or something.
Right. Right. You just pass
But
it around.
somehow me and my brother didn't get it, but everybody in my whole house got it, you know. So
Right.
it's just a weird virus for sure, man. I don't know. I don't think I ever got it. I donated blood this year and they said I didn't have antibodies, so
Right.
I don't know, man.
Yeah. I mean, neither do I. Again, I've taken the test plenty of times. I haven't taken the antibody test. I probably should go take it, but I don't think I've had it, honestly. I feel like I'm not necessarily like super excited to get the vaccine, but like, okay, I'll do it. Sure. If it's like
Yeah.
necessary for me to travel, of course I'm going to do it. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
if that's what it takes for me to hang out with people, not wear a mask, and to go places that I want to go, yeah, I'm going to do it. Um, but that said, I feel like as long as you're healthy, I don't really think that I have that much to worry about.
Yeah. That's kind of how I feel
The
too.
day,
Yeah.
right. I think I would be more a relative or something like that. And then since I'm working full time in close contact with people, me being the reason that somebody gets sick.
Right, exactly. Like that's really what was always like afraid of is just like me being the reason, like you said, to give it to somebody. Like I don't care if I were to get it,
Right.
but you know, you're with family, so you're gonna end up giving it to somebody eventually.
Right.
And what sucks is like you won't know until like 3 days after.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy.
Like we had like a whole like Friendsmas thing, like literally the Sunday of Christmas. Like I
Mhm.
went to see some friends and everything. And then I found out my whole family got it, so I had to talk to them and be like, "Yo, you guys got to get tested or something," because
Right.
yeah, because
Like
you
either
don't know.
you gave it to me or I'm gonna have given it to you.
Yeah, yeah, dude, it makes things weird. So I don't know. I think masks aren't gonna go away though. I feel like people are gonna still be wearing that after all this.
Yeah, probably. I mean, again, I think to each their own. Like I think it should be more up to everyone's own decision. It's like, okay, yeah, if that's what you want to do, live your life. I'm not going to judge you. You shouldn't judge me for the way that I want to live mine. But yeah, I agree with that. I think masks are part of the norm now.
Yeah,
I
man.
mean, even if you don't like wearing the mask all the time, I was tattooing somebody the other day and they're like, yeah, in the winter, I'll probably keep my mask on. It's nice. My face is warm now. And I'm like,
Yeah, that's one
all
plus
right,
in the winter. Yeah, so
great.
that cold wind doesn't smack you in the face.
New York problems, man.
Oh yeah, dude, it's rough, man.
Yep.
But you know, Long Island's not too bad on that
That's
sense.
beautiful.
But I'm trying to move out because there's not much for me here. It's the
Yeah.
city for me, man. I Once I graduated college and I wasn't going as often, man, it was just like, nah, I gotta go back, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Do it, man. I mean,
yeah,
I feel like rent is cheaper now, so that's good.
that's true because you know everybody was saying that
So
New
many
York is
people move.
done. Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's saying like New York is done and everything. I went yesterday and it was like business as usual, you know,
Yeah.
like
I was in
everybody's
Brooklyn all
out and
day
about.
yesterday. So
Yeah, so it's just like, you know, the people that I feel like the people that are saying that, man, are just they're not true New Yorkers. They're just literally just listening to what the news is saying, but not actually living where it's at, you know?
again, well, I'll see.
Yeah. So then, all right, so let's talk about more about the tattoo industry and like what kind of surprised you of that industry when you kind of started out?
Mm, I guess a lot of things. I don't know. You never really think about like when you get into tattooing, how I guess I never really thought about it. You're just dealing with blood all day, every single day. So it's like
Yeah, how's that?
it's kind of sketchy, but like obviously you just take the precautions. But like when you're looking at it from the outside in, you don't really think like, oh damn, these people are just bleeding for hours on end in front of you, and like you're wiping the blood with your hands, and like it's possible that you could get like a disease because of a
Yeah,
bloodborne pathogen or something like that.
yeah, but you guys are like a whole you're a tattooing like thing is basically like a whole medical unit too. Like I
Yeah, I
saw.
mean, everybody has like certain training as far as that goes, but it's just yeah, always like a possibility. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, what else has surprised me in tattooing? Maybe like the amount of diversity in between like the people that I've met, like the demographic of people that you meet via tattooing is it spreads across the board. You know, it's like people of all ages from everywhere. Yeah, get tattoos.
Yeah, and you get
Wow,
to like kind of
meet a
hear
lot of
their
characters.
stories and everything. Yeah.
Totally, I live vicariously through a lot of people, and I've like met a lot of my really close friends now, like via like my profession, which is amazing. And like I don't know, a couple years ago, I tattooed this guy when I was working on Canal Street. He's a tattooer, and we just became internet buddies, and like we just kept sending each other like tattoo pictures. He was commenting on my stuff, I was commenting on his stuff, and then in 2019 I was in Spain, and he lives in Spain, and I went and tattooed at his studio, and
Oh, that's
like
dope, man.
yeah, we're boys. Like shout out to Javier, but
I'll tag him in. I'll tag him in.
yeah, yeah, but no, I mean that's what it's all about, and I feel like again that's just the art community in general. It's just like a lot of open-minded and friendly people for the most part. So
Yeah, that's like across the board in like the whole art industry, man. It's just
yeah,
like it's a very open community, which I always loved about that, you know.
definitely,
It's very few and far in between where it's just like there's terrible people that don't want to like teach you anything or like, you know, just help you out in a sense like that, but for the majority everybody's super open and like ready like to teach you and stuff.
definitely.
So how does it feel like to have people with your tattoos just walking around?
Um, it's
Like what was
crazy.
yeah, like
I
what was
mean,
your first experience with their like your first tattoo? How was that like?
what making my first tattoo?
Yeah, like doing that first tattoo and then like knowing that someone's wearing your art.
So I did my first tattoo on myself, and then I was like, okay, this is like day one. This is crazy. Um, but yeah, that's cool. The first person I tattooed was a good friend of mine. That's probably like one of my best friends, childhood friend. I was sweating bullets. I was so nervous, and it was like a little
Yeah.
silhouette, but like I'm drenched in sweat. Like the lamp next to me couldn't have been any hotter. I basically felt like I was in a sauna. Like I'm just so.
Oh man. Yeah, dude.
It was definitely nerve wracking. I mean, you don't want to mess up, but it's also like I I appreciate it. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah, thanks for the
Oh
trust.
man, I feel like that would be me every day. But I mean,
Yeah,
I guess it like changes up after each tattoo, right?
I mean, it depends. I still get nervous sometimes, but at the same time, it's like I have like a much better understanding of it. So
Do you kind
yeah,
of have any like tattoo horror stories that you can talk about?
tattoo horror stories. I mean, not too many, honestly. I feel like yeah, like certain people are hard to deal with and difficult, but it's like you just it's a service at the end of the day, you know? It's like
Yeah.
kind of just bite your tongue and make it happen, you know?
All right. So, what about like any cool stories? Anything like memorable that you can remember from anybody?
Um, any cool stories? I mean, I've tattooed some really awesome people. I tattooed I don't know, like these Swedish actors. That was pretty cool.
Whoa,
I tattooed I forget which one, but one of the Dolan brothers. That was pretty interesting.
dude. Okay,
Um
this is what I like to hear.
um I don't know. Yeah, I mean like people from all over the place. I mean, it's just I don't know. A lot of people
Yeah,
get tattooed. So
no, I
again,
got you.
it's all over the place. I mean, I was talking about this the other day. Actually, I've signed a couple tattoos also, which is crazy. So they're like people walking out with my signature on them. Like people have asked me to sign a tattoo that I've done, and I'm like, all right, yeah.
Like tattoo your signature or just sign
Mhm.
it?
No, like tattoo my
Whoa.
signature like next to the tattoo.
I've I've never actually even heard of some people doing that. So that's a thing, huh?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a thing. Like I've only done it two times. but yeah, like there's I think probably like a 74-year-old like German woman walking around with like the New York City skyline and like my signature on her.
Dude, that's sick.
It's pretty wild.
Yo, grandma's out here representing. I love it.
Yo, it's crazy.
Yo, man, that's so cool. So, are you still doing like freelance work, or is this solely tattooing right now?
Mainly just tattooing right now. I mean, again, I feel like as far as freelance work goes, I mean, I've done a couple illustrations for people. I think I would enjoy doing more, like making more of a brand for myself, I would say. Like, okay, I want to make more paintings or some prints for myself, maybe some merchandise, shirts, clothing, whatnot. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think eventually I'll make more time to do other projects like that, and I would like to. But right now, like the forefront is definitely tattooing and just
Right.
kind of getting better at that.
Do you still have a website?
No, I don't have a website right now. I got to get a website. I've been thinking about this like this week and the week before. Actually, my brother was making fun of me for it. That I don't have a website or that I'm like not making clothes and stuff like that. But
Right. I mean, honestly, man, it's like, especially when it comes to like artists, we really gotta try and like just branch out with all these different kind of avenues of like passive income. You
yeah,
know, I mean, I've been testing out different merch for the podcast too. I actually have some over there, but
oh
kind
yeah,
of don't want to show it yet because
no worries. Yeah,
gotta like release it in like a few weeks.
same.
After like a few more podcasts, I'm gonna like just promote it. But yeah, it's I've been keeping up with like my Behance. Actually gotten a bunch of work through Behance where it's just like the
Yeah,
least place. It's like the one website that I always forget to like update because I'm always just focused on Instagram and like my personal website and everything that I forget about
right.
it. But it's been the one source where I've actually been getting work from.
Yeah, that's
Um,
amazing.
yeah, so then I keep up with the website. I've been updating it with like my prints with freelance work that I've done, and yeah, I kind of want to do that same thing and just kind of create a brand for myself, and that's kind of what this year has been. It's just
Yeah,
focusing on that and building different brands of like I still have my T Public up that I get money from every couple month like every month with different sales on that. I
sick.
got my freelance work, and then now with the podcast pace too. Eventually, I want to build that up, and then with YouTube, it's just trying to find each avenue to get the most amount of money. So you're
Totally.
not just like focused on one thing.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy. I feel like,
Yeah,
yeah, the YouTube one is tricky too. I don't know. Thought about that, but it's not
I
easy.
think for you, maybe like or like TikTok, maybe for you, like
Yeah,
doing like
people
the
keep
time.
recommending that. Honestly, I mean, it's like pretty short too, but at the same time, it all just takes time, and like sometimes I
Yeah,
think it's better spent just focusing on what I do. You know?
yeah, but like then you got people like Devon that just like that in like a month, 2 months, two
Yeah,
million
he
followers
crushed
out of
it
nowhere.
without it. I mean, out of nowhere. No, he's super fucking skilled. You know? It's
No,
like,
I yeah, but like with the speaking in
yeah,
the sense with TikTok's reach, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt, it
there's
definitely puts you in like in the limelight and like the view of so many other people. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
man, because
definitely a hot platform right now.
you nobody it doesn't require for people to follow you. Like they just put it out there, literally into the world, and then that's what people see. It's not like filtered into only your friends,
Right, right,
which makes that's the huge appeal about it.
totally.
And yeah, for you, like I think you know just you don't even have to like record the whole tattoo, just like maybe 5 seconds here and there of you
Right.
like in the middle of tattooing or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
and people love it.
Stencil halfway through
Yeah,
working it, finished product, short
exactly.
video, my cheesy face, what's up? And then
People I know people love when like they have all that soap with the reveal.
yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
you could do that, man. You'll sucker people into that. I know it.
Hey, we'll see. Maybe
Yeah.
you'll hear a little TikTok news from me soon, but
Heck yeah, man.
why not?
I and then I guess for the website, then you could kind of set it up in a sense where couldn't you like set it up to do like appointments that way too?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, right now the shop mainly books like a lot of the appointments for me. I feel like a lot of times people message me on Instagram, DM, whatnot, or like via my email. I'll just send them over to the shop. The shop will kind of set up a consultation and we'll just go from there. But yeah, I'm definitely probably going to move to something like that, honestly. Like once I get a website set up, I'll probably start maybe like filtering through some of the emails myself a little bit more heavily.
Yeah, man, because then that's just more money for you in that sense. Then again, you're building that following from
Yeah,
that.
yeah, totally.
Let's see. All right, so what is success to you then? We kind
Mm.
of got into it before, like with what you're doing in the future, but like, what do you think of success? Are you where you at? Where you at right now? Are you happy where you with what you're doing now, or do you feel like you're still missing something?
Again, I think that's like what we touched on before. It's like
Yeah,
a sliding scale. You get to one spot that you thought you wanted, and then the mountain gets that much higher. But you just have to turn around and look at how high you actually are. Instead of just looking at where you have to go, it's like appreciate where you're at, where you've come from, and yeah, just know that it never ends, man. It's like
yeah,
as long as you're alive, you're gonna want to get better at what you're doing. Why would you want to stay the same? Um, I think success for me involves a lot of balance. It's like, again, making time for work, for yourself, for your family, for your friends. It's success is like being good at time management in my eyes, honestly. Um,
that's a good point. Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, once you can like master like a balance, I think then you're living a successful life. So
Yeah, then I feel like a big part of that too then is just financial freedom because I feel like a lot of the hustle does come from, not trying to be homeless or anything. At least that's for me, like
100%, man.
yeah. And I feel like once I have that financial freedom where I don't have to worry about money, I think that's where what I think of success. But even then, like you said, I'm gonna get that and then I'm just like, nah, this ain't enough. I got other things planned.
Totally. I mean, it's like, okay, even if you got X amount of money, would you stop doing things? No, you would keep doing the things that you're doing. So I don't know. Nothing really changes except you got X amount of money. It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
right, it just is what it is. And then it's like, you just keep going.
And then you do
So,
stuff like this where you're making a whole podcast just because you want
yeah.
to
Oh,
fill
yeah.
up more
No kidding.
time.
Yeah, man. You're just trying to talk
Yeah,
to like the homies and just see what
yeah,
interesting people are doing and stuff like that. It's cool.
exactly, man. And then eventually I want to branch out and just like talk to people I'm inspired by. Like people that are bigger than me, kind of thing. And that's why I'm just kind of building it right now with a few episodes, just so people know I'm actually doing it.
Definitely.
That's the dream. It's just really to talk with people and then just get like their idea of or like kind of get their story and how they started out. What do they want to give people as in like advice on how to start up certain things. And I just kind of want to be I want this to be a resource for those kinds of like creative people like moving up in the world.
Definitely, man. I think a podcast is a great platform for that. I think a lot of people are doing a really good job of it. And yeah, I like tuning into a couple people's podcasts or like YouTube series or just like specific people.
Yeah. Yeah, because like sometimes I don't even like listen to music. I'll just put on a podcast or something and just like work that
Totally.
way, and then it just kind of fills up the creative juices and keeps me going.
Yeah, it's
'Cause,
inspiring.
like you hear these different stories of what people go through, and that
Yeah.
that just helps out.
And everybody's
So
life is just like so drastically different. It's crazy.
exactly. So what do you recommend to someone like getting into tattooing or just per se like freelance work?
Mm, getting into tattooing. I mean, I would just, I guess, do similarly as to like what I would do. I don't know. It's just get tattooed, start getting tattooed a lot, like, and then try and make friends with those people, try and get critiques from those people, and then yeah, collect good tattoos. Take it as like, okay, for example, like I just paid college tuition and repaid tuition for 2 years of, or I paid for 2 years of schooling. Whereas like, okay, the amount of money that I put into my tattoos, I looked at that as like the crash course for how this dude works. So it's like, this is a seminar of how this dude makes this sleeve, or like how this guy makes this sleeve. That's just what it costs to learn how they work.
Yeah.
So yeah, just get tattooed, watch what they're doing, draw a lot, make a solid portfolio, and then try and find like a respectable shop that you can get your way into. Like you need to, again, put yourself in a position where you admire the people that you're around. So it's like, if you know that they're doing a good job, you in turn, like being around them, like via osmosis or whatever it is, you're
Yeah.
going to do a good job because that's just who you're around.
Exactly. That's something I always say. Like, always surround yourself with people that are like above you, or just like more with more. Just surround yourself with successful people, because then success will come your way, either by like through your own, or through help. But never like you're literally the person you are is always going to be the person you spend the most time with.
Yeah,
And
I mean, it definitely has a big impact on it. I mean, it doesn't always have to be like that you're like with people that are better than you, quote
no,
unquote.
no, like, but you know what I mean. It's just like people that have that drive. You don't want to be with someone that's
Yeah,
slacking and that have no motivations to do it, like do better, kind of thing.
for
Because
sure.
then
But like,
that
you could also be like that light in somebody else's life too.
exactly,
But
yeah,
yeah, I definitely am an advocate for that. It's like you really need to surround yourself and like choose carefully with who you're around because that rubs off on you. So
yeah. It's so true, man. All right, so then, and we talked about side gigs really, because you're not really doing much freelance stuff. But is there anything else other than like?
um I feel like over the beginning of quarantine, I made like a couple little like videos, just like short snippets for Instagram. I was just filming a little bit. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was cool. Um, I don't know if that's something I'm going to do more of in the future, or maybe get someone to do for me. But I think like video content is really cool. I like filming. I think that's fun.
Yeah, dude, it's fun, man.
Definitely.
That's
And
something
like
that
the
I
editing process, it's like I'm a big music head, so for me to be able to just direct like a little film is sweet. It's a good time. So
I didn't know that about you. So that's like another like passion of yours, that kind of.
yeah, I mean, I would like to
Yeah.
do more of it. Again, I don't have that much experience in it, but
I
like
mean, yeah,
learning, yeah, like Adobe softwares are sick. It was a good time and it's challenging. And I thought, again, the end product makes the struggle worth it in a lot of ways. Where it's like,
exactly.
okay, at the beginning of this, I had no idea. Yeah, I had to watch this video on YouTube 10 times just for me to understand how to cut this over here. But when I look at everything, it's cool.
Yeah, and that's like something another thing that's so important is just you never stop learning, like never be kind of stagnant on what you do. Like sure you're good at this one thing, but I feel like there's always room to improve on other things. And like you said, like I just got more into videography like you, and just video editing. I enjoy doing like video work and kind of figuring out different compositions. I've been like watching more movies recently, trying to get like that feel of cinematography and all of that,
Definitely.
and kind of implementing that in my work and then in my photography work. Because I that's another thing I do when I'm not kind of inspired with illustration. I'll just go out and do some street photography in the city.
Right.
So it's just like that. It's just find other passions that doesn't necessarily have to be like your main thing, and you could always draw inspiration from that for
Totally.
sure.
But it's like it all just comes full circle. It's more or
Yeah,
less like, obviously, you being a better photographer is going to be better for you as far as like displaying your illustrations or selling merch because
exactly.
you took better photos of this. Or again, it's all just makes you like that much more multidimensional.
All that, yeah, all of that feeds into each field that you're working in.
Right.
Like you said, photography. Well, photography has actually helped me more with composition wise and thinking about more composition, especially like with street photography, because you're constantly like the world's moving around you. You can't compose the image and tell someone to just sit still.
That's super hard.
Yeah, so it's just I take that as a challenge to keep it going.
Yep.
All right, so I kind of want to get into now the more fun stuff and like more light stuff. And
Yeah.
What kind of movie have you been watching? Movies during like quarantine that you like were digging?
Yeah, quarantine actually allowed me to watch Game of Thrones.
You just watched Game of Thrones this year, last year?
I never really watched Game of Thrones. I never really was like intending on watching it. I watched like a couple episodes here and there, and then it's like, okay, yeah, like no life Game of Thrones in like I think it was like 2 weeks. It
So how was that? What do you think about Game of Thrones?
was sick. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was good. I mean, I'm a huge fan of anything medieval. I think that's always awesome. I've always been attracted to that, whether it's like Lord of the Rings or like video games and stuff like that. That's cool. Um, but yeah, Game of Thrones was sick.
What do you think about that last season?
Um, I mean, everything's got to end. So some people aren't going to be happy with how it ends. Some people
Yeah.
are going to be happy with how it ends. I think seemed maybe out of character, but at the same time, for Khaleesi to do that is kind of in character with like her, like I guess nationality, like her people. Like they don't really give a
Yeah.
fuck. So she just turned into the person who doesn't give a fuck and just went crazy.
I mean, I guess, but then it's also like they built up that the night crawlers and all that like for
Yeah,
7 full seasons, and then to just kind of end it within like an episode or two. Like it was just like
that's how it goes, man.
I know it's just one of those things like you wanted to kind of like extend a little bit more, give it more time, but it was just like it was like the climax was there and then it is straight drop off. It wasn't like a smooth transition, which was like one of my gripes about it.
Yeah,
But I think with if you were to like watch it as it was coming out, you would be more disappointed in that sense. But I watched it after it was everything was done.
right,
But like, but that's what I'm saying. It's for people that were just waiting on these seasons to like come. I feel like they were just anticipating something more. Whereas someone who could just like binge it could appreciate it more for what it was because you could just kind of watch it play through the whole time.
right.
So
I
I
mean, I
think,
get it, but at the same time, like if you wanted it to be more, when would be enough,
damn, that's true.
right? Because then
Yeah,
it would just go on forever. It's like, all right,
yeah,
these things are impossible to kill, so we're just gonna let this show run until people just get tired of watching it.
like a soap opera. They're
Yeah, why
like
not?
30 seasons in.
Right, and they're still
Yeah,
fighting these things. So,
yeah. What about anything else that you watched?
what else have I been watching? No, not really. I feel like I've been watching that like hip hop, the history of hip hop lately on Netflix. That's kind of cool.
Right. Okay.
Um, no, I don't really watch that much TV. I
I
think
mean,
I'll
you
like stick to more like YouTube snippets and stuff like that.
that's something I got into real heavy, YouTube. Like
Yeah,
I used to always like wonder why people would spend so much time on YouTube and anything. And
learn
it was
anything.
just yeah, and I was just like, I don't get it. Like I never got into it. And then once I started actually like searching up videos of how to do certain things, and then the whole algorithm got me into like a whole rabbit hole. And
Definitely. I mean, it
yeah,
shows you what you want to see because
exactly.
that's what it's good at. So,
So I definitely got into that. But so you have HBO. They've been coming out with movies that like on demand that are coming out in theaters now. So have you been like taking advantage of that?
no, I haven't been watching any of them.
Dude, you gotta get it.
Ooh.
You gotta watch Godzilla then, man.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah, man. I actually just watched it for the second time yesterday. First time I watched it at home because of the HBO.
Okay.
And then I went yesterday with my friend Nico and Dust, and we watched it in Union Square because Regal just opened it back up. We were by ourselves. There was nobody there because nobody's going to the movies now.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was like RPX, man. Oh, dude, if you're looking for just like straight up monster action fighting, yeah, man.
Check it out.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you watch the original like Godzilla's and
Yeah.
then Kong Skull Island?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so then yeah, definitely you got to watch how it ends with who wins, Godzilla or Kong.
I'll give it a go, man.
Yeah, dude. I'm trying to see what other movies I kind of watched. Um, were you ever into like the whole Marvel universe?
Yeah, Marvel's dope for sure.
How'd you feel about Endgame and all that?
Um, I don't even know if I saw Endgame. Hey man, I hate to be that guy, but
No, no, it's good.
no, Marvel is definitely dope, but no, I don't think I saw Endgame. I don't watch that many movies, honestly. So I feel like lately I just watched Akira for the first time, actually.
I'm not gonna hold you. I haven't watched it yet, and
No,
it's
you
like
gotta watch it. It's sick.
it's yeah, it's on Hulu, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, as I'm gonna press it, I always end up like watching something else. So I think
You know who recommended that I watch that? Josh.
of course,
Yep.
yeah. Oh, you know he's coming back,
I know. He was telling me.
dude. Yeah, man, I'm excited. He's gonna force us to all go to the galleries again.
Hey, sounds good to me.
Hell yeah, man. I haven't gone to a gallery in so long, especially now with COVID.
Yeah, definitely me either. Yeah, it's definitely been a while.
So you haven't gone. How long has it been? Do you think?
What, to a gallery?
Yeah.
Hmm. Um, I was in England last September, and I was at a gallery in England last September.
Oh, dude. So you were like tattooing out there, or is it more just like a
No, it was
vacation?
like a personal trip, but like, yeah, I went to a museum out there, but it was a lot of the exhibitions were like not really fully functioning, and you couldn't go into certain rooms, and like
So
it
like
was
one of
kind of
those
weird.
things.
Yeah, they had like a much stricter lockdown than we had here, I think. So
Oh, right. You went after the lockdown. So I was,
yeah, dude,
yeah. So what
I
was
was pretty
traveling
wild.
like?
It was kind of strange, but like actually not that big of a deal, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I took a COVID test before. They just asked me to see that I'm negative for COVID. Showed them the test. Yeah, and then flew to England, and then I was in England for like 3 weeks.
Dude, that's dope. I,
Yeah, it was good.
Me and Gabby, we went to Cuba like 2 months before COVID hit.
Yeah,
So that was like a whole thing.
I've never been. I really want to go.
Yeah, man, it's really cool, dude, and it's just like a street photographer's like dream because everything there is so beautiful. The cars, the buildings, man, they're all super old school.
Yep, super
Old,
vibrant and stuff.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah,
like the street life, everybody's just out and about. Everybody keeps their doors open, weirdly enough, like to
yeah,
their house. So like you think you could just kind of walk in kind of
yeah.
thing, but
It's
you
just
just
like a
kind of see.
window to somebody else's life.
Yeah, yeah, you just see everybody's kind of doing their own thing, and it's and honestly, it's like one of the safest places I felt to be in,
Nice.
being that everybody's like wants you to be there. They want you to have a good time, and then just they love tourists because it's
Yeah, they
stimulating
thrive
their
off the tourism,
economy.
of
Yeah,
course.
and so thankfully we were able to go. We just had to, I think, get like a visa.
Okay.
I remember, but it's super easy to go. You could just go straight from New York now to Cuba. Before you had to go up to like Canada and stuff and like go that
Right.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, have like a layover and then fly from there.
Yeah, they even asked us if if we wanted our passport stamp because back then when you would come back to the US and they saw that you were like stamped by Cuba, then that was bad.
Okay.
But the cigars though, man, were great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it was a great time, dude.
Hell yeah.
That's like something I want to keep on doing is just straight up traveling. Because that's just another source of inspiration, really.
Without a doubt, man.
Yeah,
People, food, new places. That's like my go-to. I love traveling.
yeah, man.
Definitely.
All right, so let's wrap it up a little bit, and I want you to like tell them where they could find you.
Sounds
You know,
good. Yeah, it was a
yeah,
pleasure, man.
yeah,
You can find me on Instagram at hunter.schuon.tattoo. Yeah, that's Schuon for my last name. But yeah, I'm like primarily on Instagram right now. I don't really have any other social media at the moment. Probably get a website going. You kind of just push that a little bit
yeah,
more.
man. Let's get that going so we can buy some merch, get
I'll get
those
that
shirts out.
going. Get the TikTok rocking.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man.
Sounds good, bro.
All right, buddy. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for coming on. I think this was very awesome. People are gonna get a lot from it,
Hell yeah, man. Thanks
and
for having me.
anybody getting into tattooing, talk to my boy Hunter, man.
I mean, I don't know if I can get you in, but I'll definitely let you know what I know.
No, just advice wise, man.
Yeah, for
I'm there
sure.
looking for advice. All
All
right,
right,
dude.
man.
Thank you.
Have a good night, bro.
You too.